All right, welcome wrestling fans to the PW Fan. The PW Fan is a pro wrestling podcast created by the fans for the fans, and we appreciate you joining us for episode 22. I'm your host, representing the old school wrestling fan, and your favorite barber, Tim Gilbert.
And I'm your host, the architect of pro wrestling podcast,
I'm also
Andy.
your host, the no-selling wrestling indie fan, Jeremy.
Okay, everybody. Today we're going to be talking about the male elimination chamber being set and ready, Ronda Rousey picking her WrestleMania opponent, our AEW Dynamite review, and more. Before we get started on the show, if you guys could help us out and head on over to our YouTube channel, please like and subscribe. It means so much to us when you do that. Just even a few likes here and there goes a long way. And also, please don't forget to go to Apple Podcast and leave us a review, or go to Spotify and give us that Dave Meltzer 5-star rating. For t-shirts, go to prowrestlingtees.com/the PW Fan. All right, Andy, over to you, buddy.
All right. Before we get into the actual shows of the week, there's a couple things that weren't really on shows I wanted to talk about. First is, who do you guys think is coming to AEW on Wednesday?
I want it to be Jeff Hardy, but I know it can't be. Or maybe it can be.
Yeah, his non-compete clause, I think, doesn't stop till March.
Yeah, someone said March 9th, but I was like, I saw all the conspiracy things, like, oh, maybe they got it revoked because, you know, his drug test came out clean and they fired him for the wrong reasons. I'm like, I really want it to be true, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be Keith Lee.
So this person, they're going to be wrestling Isaiah Cassidy. If I'm not
and the
mistaken,
qualifying for the ladder
it's
match.
like the face of the, it's like face of the revolution or something.
Yeah,
like that.
It's the qualifying match to get in.
Yeah, the big rumor is Keith Lee. That's what apparently talent backstage thinks it's going to be. Could it be like Bray Wyatt? You know, could it be? Well, you were saying maybe they swerve us, and since it is a free agent, it's just Cody Rhodes. It's coming out to re-sign a contract.
Oh, that'd be like a full heel move for him. I don't know. What do you think, Tim?
Yeah, I mean, if I had to guess it, and it's anybody, it would be Keith Lee. I've noticed his online presence right now has gone up a lot more, and he's been posting. So I'm going to stick with that and say that's my pick.
What about Samoa Joe?
I don't think so.
That was another
I don't think so.
Pick by people. No.
Well,
see, this is the weird thing about this. I texted you guys this in group chat. Tony Khan's saying something about the forbidden door, but also about free agency. the two phrases don't go together.
Yeah. You can't have a forbidden door with if you sign the person.
I don't even consider
agent.
Samoa Joe a WWE guy, to be honest with you. I mean, yeah, he was there a while, but he did so much before that.
Yeah.
I would think he's more of a TNA guy than anything.
Yeah, I mean his longevity, the longevity of his career was not been WWE.
That's why I don't think it has anything to do with the forbidden door, just because that'd be, I don't know, I don't picture that with him. It just does. That's not what comes to mind.
Yeah.
They're just going to swerve us with Cody Rhodes.
I feel like it could be now.
So we'll have to see. But that's this Wednesday. But also from our the fallout of the Rumble from last week, I think it was the next day, WWE released Shane
I'll fire my
McMahon.
own son.
So, and it was like a apparently quiet release while the internet blew up about it. So
yeah, I was going to say not so quiet.
But yeah, what are your guys' thoughts? Like, do you think it has to do with more than just the disaster of the Rumble with him, or I'm so curious.
I feel like it's definitely the Rumble part, but also if everyone in WWE backstage hates you, it's a pretty good achievement, because it's hard to make every single person hate you. So you're either with like Kevin Dunn and Vince, or you're kind of with like more of a locker room type.
Yeah,
and all of them hate him.
Yeah, apparently Brock wasn't happy either.
Yeah, that's bad.
I mean,
with whatever
the
went
guy
down.
fired his own son. I mean, what can you say? Like that means that nothing's off limits. I mean,
Triple
it's
H
not
is
off the
next.
table now. Think about it.
Yeah.
People said the best in the world came for a good time, not a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I wonder what he'll do from here, but best of luck to as WWE
Your
says,
future
good luck on
endeavors.
future endeavors.
Just one quick thing on that one though. That happy birthday like meme that you sent us, or like Vince's Twitter account was saying happy birthday to everyone, like all of his kids except for basically Shane, was just like happy birthday.
That was
Shane.
hilarious.
And all the rest of them were some paragraph.
Yeah, I hope that picture was real because he went into deep detail for like Triple H and John Cena and The Rock, and then Shane. It was just like happy birthday, Shane McMahon. All right, well. Okay, so the last thing before we get into Raw is today. I believe it was today. The Women's Elimination Chamber match was announced just over social media. They didn't do it on TV. Nothing. No idea who's in it, but. Whenever they do these kind of, it should be a bigger announcement. They should save it for TV, but they just did one of those things where like, hey, we're doing it, so be prepared to, I guess, see what happens on Raw and stuff. Maybe that's why they do it. I don't know. Try to get people to tune in.
I feel like it is, but it's also feels very disrespectful when they do it like that.
Yeah. So I'm curious. I mean, the men's Elimination Chamber is on Raw. And based on how Friday night SmackDown went, I think the Elimination Chamber for the women's will also be for the Raw Women's title. So it's like a big Raw Elimination Chamber show in Saudi Arabia, which is 2 weeks from this Saturday, I believe. And it's at 10:30 p.m., by the way, our time. God. Okay. Well, let's get into it, guys. So Raw from this week opened with a segment of Bobby Lashley in the ring, and it being said that he will defend his title in the Elimination Chamber. Brock then comes out. He says, you really didn't beat me, and like, how can you be proud of that win? But he did tell Bobby he's choosing Roman for Mania, and he says it's going to be title versus title. He then challenges Bobby to a match, and Bobby and MVP say no, and then Adam Pearce just comes down and announces that Brock will be in the Elimination Chamber. No qualifying match, just Brock's going to be in it. So either WWE has already shown us who the winner is, or if they actually swerve us, I'd be very surprised. But they definitely could and not have Brock win. And then it's just Brock still challenging Roman, but only for one title. So, I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you guys think... I mean, we'll get into who else is in the chamber because there are some qualifying matches that, went on throughout the show. But, yeah, how do you feel about just Brock being announced right away?
Yeah, I was like, they could have at least used like that, rematch clause that they always use in WWE.
That's been gone for so long, I feel like. Me and Tim used to talk about that. Like, that's just not a thing anymore. But it was something that I felt always made sense.
Yeah, just one more match.
It just went away.
Or something. Or it's just an excuse to have it again if they needed it.
Especially like after Mania. It was always nice to have because then at the next pay-per-view, which was normally Backlash at the time, you would get that same main event, but maybe one more time or something like an added stipulation like a ladder or no holds barred or cage or Hell in a Cell or something. But yeah, they haven't done that in a long time. They've kind of
Well, I remember the Backlash after WrestleMania 20. The main event was against Shawn Michaels, Chris Benoit, and Triple H. Great main event as well, but it's like you got another great match back to back pay-per-view.
Yeah, I was actually at the last Backlash
Hey.
in Baltimore. It wasn't great.
No,
Weren't we there?
we went to No Way
too?
Out 2006.
Okay. So yeah, with the announcement of the Elimination Chamber at the beginning of the show, throughout the night we had some qualifying matches. But before we get into them, we had the KO show, whose guest was Seth Rollins, not selling any injuries from a bunch of chair shots. To tell you that much, from Royal Rumble, it was just only 2 nights before that. But he's just out in the ring with KO and says. He announces himself he's in the Elimination Chamber match. Again, doesn't need a qualifying match. He just says, I'm in it. I've been told I'm in it. And then there's kind of a back and forth, kind of jokingly on KO, but you can tell that his character is supposed to be like kind of jealous. He's just like, oh, I have to qualify, but you don't. You just get handed a match pretty much because of your performance the other night. So now we have Bobby, Seth, and Brock in the match so far. So later in the night, we have some qualifying matches. It's Rey Mysterio versus AJ Styles. Winner is AJ Styles, so he's added to the match. Then we have Kevin Owens versus Austin Theory. Austin Theory, of course, wins the match, so he's added. And then Otis and Riddle have a match, and it's either right before it starts or right at the end. They say that the winner will be added to the match, and the winner was Riddle. So the men's elimination chamber is as follows. Bobby Lashley, Brock Lesnar, AJ Styles, Seth Rollins, Riddle, and Austin Theory. To me, it doesn't sound like a bad
That sounds
match.
pretty good.
But the question is, will Brock Lesnar walk out of there just to set up title versus title, or do they not actually follow through with the title versus title? And if so, who comes out of there as champion?
I feel like it's Brock.
So I'm kind of actually looking forward to this Elimination Chamber match.
Has Brock been?
I think for the most part, I don't
Brock
really
been in the
care for
Elimination
Austin
Chamber
Theory
before?
No, I was thinking about that when I was watching. I don't think so. I feel like he was always
and there was
champion
a time
during
where
it
the
and never,
Elimination
had to
Chamber
defend it.
was like weirdly more of a Raw thing, and Brock was a SmackDown guy. I don't think in his first run he definitely didn't do any Elimination Chambers. When he came back in 2012 or whatever.
Yeah. He was only around for 2.
Yeah.
There was only 2 Elimination Chambers during his first run.
Yeah.
And that was
I don't think
strictly
he's been
Raw.
in one. So that'll be interesting.
I also feel like the Saudi Prince wants Brock to win this in Saudi Arabia.
The Prince loves
At
Brock.
least he's alive. Someone who wants in the match.
Now, I wish Brock was in the original Elimination Chamber, not the padded one.
Ooh, fun fact. As some people
guys.
know, I am a barber, and actually that's how Jeremy and I came to meet each other and talk wrestling originally. But one of the gentlemen who I cut here and there, he doesn't come in all the time, but when he does, it's always interesting to talk to him. He is actually the guy who designed the new Elimination Chamber, and he was talking to me a little bit about it, literally they want to make it, and this is from the guy who made this thing. They were trying to make it, obviously safer for the people in there because the old one apparently was so just brutal, like the outside. So I don't blame him for putting the mats on there. It still looks cool. It's just the old one has a special place in my heart, but I know that for the athlete, it's probably not a great idea.
I also think the chamber is the actual where they're standing before they come out.
I think the whole thing is taller, yeah.
And it's boxier, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can't really get on top of it like you used to be able to. And the roof of
people used to
have
get
chains going across, so you could pull your legs through.
Some crazy shit.
Yeah, dude.
Triple H got his
good times,
throat
good
crushed. Yeah. His wind
from RVD,
his windpipe.
Yeah. RVD couldn't.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that same place that the guy works at, who made the chamber, also made AEW's Cage.
I think they do all kinds of contracted work. It's pretty cool.
Okay.
Because think about it. There's not going to be many people in the world. Well, there probably is welders and stuff, but some of these asks are pretty weird and specific. It's hey, can you make this? And they're yeah, I guess. Right.
Probably I can make whatever you want. Just give me the money and designs. And weld whatever together. But yeah,
I love the
moving on, guys.
Chamber.
To the main
It's
event
great.
of the show. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think I don't know how they're going to do in Saudi because they never have a roof.
Yeah, and they have to transport the entire thing there. Like,
No, I
imagine
think.
that.
Hey, no, hang on.
Yeah,
And
what the hell?
if someone wants to write into the show and correct me, that's cool. But from what I understand, is that these guys had to go over there and make it first. And no, because they
Wow.
he came in again, but he went to a different barber. And after he left, he was like, "Yo, that guy makes the stuff for wrestling." And I was like, "No, I know, I've cut him before." And he's like, "Yeah, he's about to go over to Saudi Arabia and make the stuff before they get there. So he has to go over there, make it, and then fly home."
Wow. I'm sure they get
Yeah.
paid really well for that.
Jesus. It's crazy.
That's insane.
Yeah, everything covered. Yeah, so the main event of this Raw show was Ronda came out after, she won the Rumble. Then Becky comes out. They kind of have a little banter back and forth. And Ronda leaves. Becky's kind of just in the ring, saying like how Ronda was so mean to her and whatnot. And then Lita comes out. And Lita's like just playing along like, yeah, that wasn't right of Ronda and whatnot. But then Lita challenges Becky to a match at Elimination Chamber. Becky says no at first, if I remember. And then basically, I don't know, God. Lita calls her a chicken.
Ooh.
And that riles up the man. And so she accepts, and it's Becky versus Lita at Elimination Chamber.
It's cool to see Lita back.
Yeah, I mean, when we first started talking about the Rumble coming up and stuff, and Lita had come back, I kind of thought maybe she was going to face Charlotte at Mania. But at least they're doing something with her. I still think it's cool. But I don't know. Probably going to be her last match or her retirement match. Like Trish had with Charlotte, I feel like.
Yeah.
It would be better if it was, over here. But, big payday.
Saudi
for them.
money.
They were going to
There's
Saudi
been
Arabia.
quite a few wrestlers over
Yes,
the
sir.
years, male and female, that have gotten to come back, and it seems like they're ending their career on their terms and doing like one more thing that they can be proud of. Like, I thought the Trish match that she had with Charlotte a few years back was awesome. It was really, I mean, it was a fucking banger.
It was awesome, yeah. At
And
SummerSlam.
what a way to go out. And then you got Edge and Christian came back last year, and they both had their careers ended kind of prematurely due to injury, especially Edge, and now they get to come back and do it their way. So seeing Lita maybe come back and have one more barn burner of a match would be great. I'd love to see her go out in the, on top. That'd be awesome.
Thing is, for me, it's cool because she's
Right.
coming back to a completely
Like, they
different
can
kind
go.
of women's division, one that's more respected.
Now, hang on.
yeah,
Now I
they
have
don't need,
to
like,
take,
just a couple minutes. And
because someone's going to be like, whoa, there were girls in Lita's era who were excellent, who could go. Molly Holly, Jackie, Victoria, Trish later on got really, really good. Jazz.
But that's what I'm saying. It's a respected women's division now. It was before. It was not looked at as like. I mean, if you were behind it, you were behind it. But like, I remember being in the stands. People would like go.
I really
bathroom
think the
breaks during their
worst-
matches. Like, it was.
This is just because I've watched wrestling a long time. The two times the women's division in WWE was the worst was post Sunny in the Attitude Era, where all you had was Sable for like a few years,
Sable.
and maybe
and-
Terry, and then there was like the Cat, and then they got some good wrestlers, and then they went to kind of the Raw Diva Search era, and like besides Natty and a couple other people, it was pretty rough. Other than that, like, I think if you look back, there was some really good women's wrestling. I just think that people used to, like you said, like people would get up and go to the bathroom. No,
Vince didn't really care for it either. I mean, you had good wrestlers, but he was doing like the.
Well, yeah, there's
mud
even a whole
wrestling
thing. I
and
actually
stuff
just
like
listened
that.
to a podcast today with an older thing with Dawn Marie about how he wanted them to all go out already in their bra and panties, and like she was like, "Can we at least like do this so that way?" Like, I already bought my outfit and everything, and he was like, "Okay, you went above and beyond. That's cool. We gave you something little, and you're making it something big. Like, that's why we like you here." Ha ha ha. And I was just like, "Oh, that's so weird." But yeah, I mean, that's the kind of stuff that they would have to do. Is just go out and do underwear stuff. Now they have killer matches. Like, I don't even think of it honestly as a lot of the time as male female. It's just like pro wrestling, and like, are they good? Is it good? Is it not good? That's kind of how like I'm like more how I think of it these days.
Yeah.
I feel like the audience is like that too. It's just like, sorry, Ava Marie, but when she came back compared to other, women,
We're not
in,
dumb. And even the
in WWE,
even the
like,
regular,
you can
like
see the difference.
non-smarky fans know what's up. Like, you can tell like when someone's like, "Oh, she's really good," and then someone's like, you can tell that she doesn't really know what she's doing. I mean, come on, it's obvious.
It also helps with WWE like stop calling it like a first for women's like everything.
Oh, they
like the women's revolution was cool for like a little bit, but they kind of like just marketed
they stole
that
that.
so much.
The forgotten thing is they stole that whole thing
they
from
shoved-
CM Punk's wife. AJ Lee is the one who's brought that up first.
Yeah,
And they
that's
just
right.
went with it, and she wasn't even with the company. Stephanie tweeted at Adam and was like, "Oh, you're absolutely right," and then they like took it from there, basically, and like took her idea and like made it like all about the women from literally there on out. Go back. I mean, I bet you if somebody goes back and like can find a timeline of that, I would be dead on with that.
Not surprised. But point is, good for Lita. Hope she gets, if this is her final match, I hope she, it's a good one. And she's going in there with Becky Lynch, so I'm sure it'll actually be pretty good.
Oh,
But
man,
God,
she
dude,
has broken her
moonsault
neck.
Scare the shit out of me.
Especially now.
Yeah.
That was terrifying.
Not even from moonsault, it was from a dive out the ring. But her moonsault, she always just gets so low to the mat as she's flipping. But yeah, so that wrapped it up for Raw. Do you guys want to get into this week's Dynamite? All right. So, I mean, we don't have to talk too much about this, guys, but Jon Moxley was supposed to have a match with Brian Kendrick, and it was canceled. All right. So, Brian Kendrick said some pretty terrible things back in the day in an interview in 2013, and the video resurfaced.
He said horrible things. And I bet you he probably said it during like a shoot interview, and he probably was stoned as hell when he was saying that. And dude, that's what happened. You can't say stuff like that. He did, dude. He did apologize. He basically said what I said was fucked up. But the only thing,
not that he still thinks it. It was like, yeah, like I was.
The only thing that he should have just left out.
He didn't think about it.
You shouldn't have said this. Why did you say this? He said those were somebody else's words, not mine. I was like, I mean, you did say them, so maybe that. Maybe like he's saying this to somebody, or maybe he was listening to people that he shouldn't have back then. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, that match ended up becoming Jon Moxley versus Wheeler Yuta, and Wheeler Yuta came out with Orange Cassidy and Danhausen. The winner was Jon Moxley. The match itself was good. Wheeler Yuta is actually pretty good.
It was actually really good.
And I feel like he never really has he never really has long matches, but this one was good. I think Danhausen put a curse on
JR said a curse
during the match.
And then JR kind of even laughed a little bit. I was like, see, everybody loves Dan. Everybody loves Danhausen.
Yeah. I do. Just a quick thing on Danhausen. I do like what they're doing because I understand it's kind of like you can't just bring Danhausen to national TV and be like, everyone should know who he is. Like, so they're putting him with like Orange Cassidy. So people are like, all right, well, like Orange Cassidy. So we'll like Danhausen, and they understand his character then. Because I was like,
he just needs to get on the mic.
I was like, why is he
on
with
the mic?
them?
Do some stuff. But the big thing about the opening of the show was what came after the match. Bryan Danielson comes out. And he's saying he's on the mic pretty much the whole time. I don't think Mox says a word the entire time. So I'm going to point out a couple things that he said, but just in order of how it went. He said, "Do you want to see us fight?" And the crowd's chanting yes. And he said, "For a long time, I wanted us to fight too, because you were different. I wanted to see what you had, but since you've come back, we've seen a new Jon Moxley." He said, "A part of him has always wanted to test him, and he thought that he was the best AEW World Champion." Moxley kind of, does a face like, "Yeah, you're right." He said if he had support, he would still be AEW World Champion. And that Moxley and Danielson shouldn't be fighting. He said we should be fighting together. He says there's no reason why some millennial cowboy should be world champion. There's no reason why somebody dressed as a dinosaur should be an AEW tag team champion. There's no reason why someone whose main contribution to society is creating a vlog.
That was a great one.
Should be the TNT should be the TNT champion. He said together you and me could run this place. He talks about taking someone under their wing and training them, or training the future together. Kind of, he uses Wheeler Yuta as an example, like Orange Cassidy and them are. And then he just, he leaves the ring telling Moxley, he wants him to think about it. So yeah, let's get into this promo, guys. Do you want to see them team up? Just the promo in general? Do you want to see them fight?
I mean, for me at first, I was immediately like, I want them to fight because that'd be an amazing match. Which it would be, but
it was supposed to happen in that tournament. Remember, when Mox left, it was supposed to come down to the two of them.
But I kind of hope they do. Like, I don't know if it's like a tag team or if it's just like a partnership between them. But one of them wins the TNT title and then the other one gets the AEW title. But I think that would just be really, really cool.
I think it'd be sick if this was like the modern day 2-man power trip where like Triple H and Stone Cold finally teamed up and they were just beating everybody's ass. Yes, Andy knows what I'm talking to you, dude. That would be.
They would, dude.
Moxley hits that heel turn.
That's the thing. They would dominate.
Just finally lean into it, even though he just got because he's baby facing right now. But it's like, man, Jon Moxley needs to be a heel, dude. He's just like.
I mean, seeing them two against like the Kings of the Black Throne would just be like hard hitting, intense.
I don't know. I think I'm with you guys. I think it'd be sick if they just kind of lean into this like thing. And I mean, they're teasing it. Honestly, I don't know if they're really gonna go with it. Like, I'm like, do you think he's really gonna turn heel or whatever? But I'm like, at the same time, I'm like, it would be sick if they did it.
Yeah, it would be.
Yeah, at the beginning of his promo, I was like, "Oh no!" By the end, of the
end, I was like, "I'm in."
Kind of
Let's go. Even the fans were like into it. They were like, "Yes."
Yep.
I kind of hope they do a certain like things like Danielson's getting beat up by someone, and then Moxley comes out, or Moxley's getting beat up, and then Danielson comes out, and then they like do a handshake, and then they're a team or something.
Just have to wait and see, guys. I'm excited if whatever's going to come. Whether it's a match, that's cool.
Yeah,
too.
Either way.
Yeah. Any other thoughts on that, or?
I mean, either way, it's gonna be pretty cool.
Yeah. So after that segment, we had CM Punk and MJF video package, and that video package is for it was the main event of the show, right? CM Punk versus MJF. So it's a video package for the main event of the show.
Did you guys think that the match was actually going to happen while you were watching this?
With MJF, I'm not,
the whole time
sure.
I was like, this match isn't happening.
I wasn't convinced.
But they were in Chicago.
I wasn't convinced until they
wanted heat on it.
I was like, all right, I'm not buying it yet.
Yeah, but I thought about that, and I was like, why don't I think this match is going to happen? It's because there's been so many like MJF's character or whatever, but AEW doesn't false advertise, so when they like booked the match and they said it's going to happen and they build it for this Dynamite, and I was like, yeah.
Some people not like like my verbiage here, but I'm gonna be honest with you. Like as a lifelong WWE fan, that's the one thing that I'm like. I feel like if you do it all the time, it's then it becomes way predictable. But my thing is, if you pay all that money to go, for instance, okay, let's just go with this scenario. It didn't happen, but imagine that you spend all this money to go to WrestleMania during the Yes Movement, and they had that triple threat with Batista, Triple H, and Bryan and Daniel Bryan, and you're like, Daniel Bryan better win this match, like. And that's the one thing I like. And look, that night they gave the fans what they wanted, and WWE at least at Mania tries to. But God, there are some nights where you go to one of those shows and you're like, oh my God, I can't believe I spent all this money on this. Actually,
that's a good thing about pay-per-views
because we're on YouTube
now.
now.
It's like,
and at youtube.com, look up the PW fan and subscribe. Okay, but seriously, if you're on YouTube right now, look at this. If you're a lifelong wrestling fan, you'll remember this pay-per-view. Look at this. WWE Battleground, July 23rd, 2017, in Philadelphia, the Punjabi prison match. All right, Jinder versus Randy
with Ginger and
and I will say this on air. Don't even bleep it out. I paid $300 to sit on the floor for a C pay-per-view. It was horrible.
That was a D pay-per-view.
You want to see what I paid
$300
Kevin Owens
for?
A chair.
Styles.
That's what I get. That's what I paid $300. It's not even a good one.
Yeah, at least you got to see KO.
I remember walking out of the arena that night and some dude being like, dude, I'll give you $40 for the chair. And I literally was like, yeah.
Oh, shit.
I was like, if this is the only thing I'm getting out of this show, no one's buying this thing from me. But I did say, if someone offers me the price that I paid for the ticket, because there are like some hardcore collectors out there. If some dude was like, I'll give you $250 for the chair, I was like literally going to be like, yes, absolutely. Because then at least I pretty much got my money back, minus like $50 plus beers or whatever.
Yeah.
And
your time for the whole paper. Yeah.
Actually,
well, speaking of giving people what they want, this next segment.
Question, guys. How come, back to what we first opened the show with, it just dawned on me, why was no one thinking Johnny Gargano could be the guy coming Wednesday?
That's a good point. I didn't think of that.
That would be sick. Andy, that's a great point. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah,
I'm not to say I've forgotten, like, didn't think about him, but like, yeah, that's a good one.
I mean, his contract, he wasn't released. His contract expired.
He doesn't have to wait.
Do you guys ever get worried though that like the AEW look, it's great, like.
Yes.
Like, it's great, right? You're like, oh my God, it's stacked. But then you realize you're like, you can't do stuff with all these guys.
Yeah. Well,
that's why Jay Lethal has been on.
You know what I like about it? The pro, I guess I should say, about having this big of a roster is that everything feels fresh when you do it with something, with whoever they do it with. But then also the con is you don't see someone like Jay Lethal on Dynamite.
Yeah, that was weird. They really went all out with that debut, and then like he doesn't even really do anything.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
We'll get into his match on Rampage when we get to it. Moving on. This next segment after the CM Punk MJF video package, guys. Jeremy, if you're following along with the notes, Brandy Rhodes gets in the ring.
Everyone's favorite.
She is just getting booed. I don't know if this was an accident or not, but she calls Chicago Cleveland. It sounded pretty natural.
Like she meant
it. Dan Lambert interrupts. It might be the only time I'm excited to see him.
Danny gets cheered.
Come out to get her. Stop talking. Yeah, he talks about her fake Brandy from the Block accent when she gets mad. He talks about.
Did he actually say that? I don't remember that part.
Yeah.
Yeah. Brandy starts talking again. We got "shut the fuck up" chants from the crowd.
She had to stop talking.
Dan Lambert says the only face turn anybody's gonna buy from you guys is from your old job, which was being turned face down.
Jesus.
And then Paige Van Zant from American Top Team comes out and attacks Brandy, and then basically most of the women's locker room comes out to restrain them. I don't know if we're getting a Brandy versus Paige Van Zant match.
It feels like it.
Yeah, Dan Lambert kind of went off. I was just watching some of this stuff. I was like, Jesus Christ. But
didn't he say something?
I texted you guys. I was like, God,
Yeah.
Brandy's the worst.
She is the worst. It is weird. That
hate her.
reality show literally made me like hate them. I mean, not actually. Like, I don't want anything to
Yeah.
happen to them, but like,
God,
I just mean like, ugh, just like makes my like it's like nails on a chalkboard when they come on TV.
Yeah.
just
Well, it's just like when she during that show when she was like, "You mean I have to start from the bottom
Yes,
again
bitch.
wrestling?" I was like, "Oh my god."
Yeah, you don't come back at the top. Who's Becky Lynch? No, you're way different from her.
The funny part, I thought Dan Lambert said, he said, "Let me say all this before," like he said something about getting canceled. Yeah.
Before I get canceled. Yeah. God. Well, anyway, once that terrible segment was over,
But by the way,
We
just
had the
real quick, guys,
AHFO
because I'm going to
backstage.
forget.
uh,
I just wanted to point out a few weeks ago on the show we did talk about Leo Rush telling Tony Khan to apologize on Twitter. I don't know if we touched on it, but I just wanted to throw it out there that they did not renew Leo Rush's contract. Just to throw that out there.
he's probably putting out a new rap album.
I think he actually is.
Goodbye, Leo Rush. This will probably be the last time you get mentioned on this podcast.
Again. Yes. So we have the AHFO backstage. Matt Hardy wants Isaiah Cassidy to take on Sammy Guevara's TNT Open Challenge. This leads into our next match, which was Penta and Pac versus Brody King and Malachi Black. What do you know? Pac can see
What was
again.
the point of that?
You know, his
Dude,
eyes
Brody
are
King
healed.
is a big boy.
I don't know.
He's a hoss.
Yeah.
He's a hoss.
He can move.
2 S's.
There was a black miss to Penta, so now he's the blind one, I guess.
For like a month.
Your wonders of the match
When is
were,
it?
Hey, Rey Mysterio's eye grew back.
You're wondering.
I mean, anything is possible.
Yeah. And Malachi's just became white. He grew back, but he became white in the end. But your winners were Brody King and Malachi Black. I thought it was a good match. You know, I like them as a team. I like what they're doing. I think they mesh well. I mean, they are a team outside of AEW and were beforehand. So I think they kind of have a good chemistry as it already is. But hey, at least they're doing something with Malachi Black and not random pairings and
Not like the
things like that.
AHFO people.
yeah. Andrade's always like, "Where's the little kid?" Talking about Darby Allin.
Do something with your life,
the
you
little
little
kid.
bitch. Yeah, for
That's the
any
regular
listeners who
quote.
don't know this story, I'll just say this real quick. There's basically a Reddit article that I read where some guy was saying, when I was in 6th grade, I was sitting on the front row on like the ramp that goes down to the ring. Rey Mysterio was walking down the aisle doing the thing that he always does where he like touches his head against your head and tells you something. He's like, when he got to me, he just leaned in and said, "Do something with your life, you little bitch," and then walked away. And then he said, "I don't know what he just said to the other kids, but he kept it real with me." I don't know if that story is true, but I want it to be true because it's amazing.
Yeah.
God, 100%. So next, God, how do you go on from there? So next we had Adam Cole backstage. You know, he's saying he's still undefeated. Orange Cassidy didn't beat him. that he doesn't get the respect he deserves. He's one of the best wrestlers on the planet, and we're going to start seeing a new Adam Cole. This I'm excited for.
Yeah.
Finally.
I was gonna say finally. Yeah.
Yeah. You got to start going. You got the momentum going again. Start the company, get going, and then
Hell yeah. I've been waiting for this.
Shoot to the moon, guys.
We are
Like
getting
Grimes.
This-
getting Adam
hopefully-
Cole away from pockets and into the main event scene. This is what I'm talking about. I've been talking about it for weeks on the show. It's finally happening.
God, I hope their
Hopefully
feud's
it's
finished.
him and Hangman Page at
Yeah.
Revolution.
Let's go.
Let's go. Take the belt off,
Baby.
Hangman. Put on Adam. So we have.
Is anybody
up next
else
we have
like-
Ruby Soho versus Nyla Rose.
I'm sorry to interrupt, Andy, but does anybody else feel like
You're fine.
Hangman was better in the chase for the title?
Look, before you got on tonight, me and Jeremy were talking about it. I was like, because I was looking over at the TV on, TBS was on, and there was a preview
Promo.
or commercial for Dynamite. I see Hangman Page, and I look over at Jeremy. I'm just like, guys, I'm just like, Jeremy, I'm over Adam Page being champ. I thought I was all for it at first, and it's the way they're
Yeah.
booking him. And Jeremy, you compare it
It's
to like
not
how they book
important.
Big E,
It doesn't feel
and it's
important.
just,
Yeah.
doesn't feel.
Dude,
When Kenny was champ,
Kenny
in the
was
suits
great.
and everything, he felt like a champion.
Yeah.
Felt like a champ. Even Moxley during the pandemic era felt
Well,
like a
even
champion.
Hangman's first feud with Danielson felt pretty big. Like that still felt important. And now with Archer, I'm like, who cares? This is like a mid card.
I swear they just don't know what else to do right now, so they're just
Yeah.
like doing this. Unless they're trying to give Lance Archer that push. Dude, Lance Hoyt, Lance Archer, whatever you want to call him, he's been around for so long, and it's like, I don't know.
You know what Danhausen calls him, the murder bird instead of the murder hawk.
The murder bird.
Oh, yeah, they have like a segment,
Yeah.
like a YouTube thing that they've done. But we're actually going to get to Hangman and Lance Archer in a little bit. But so after the Adam Cole backstage segment, we had Ruby Soho versus Nyla Rose. The winner was Nyla Rose. I don't know, guys. The match was fine.
It was a
Nothing
match.
special. It was just there. I think Nyla wanted revenge on Ruby. I think Ruby beat her in the tournament, the TBS
All I
tournament.
think of when I see Nyla Rose is that
so-
backstage segment. I think it was probably Ruby where she jumped her and she was like, "Surprise, bitch!"
Surprise,
She
bitch.
punched her in the face.
Yep. I knew you were going to say that. Yeah. So after that, we had the Ass Men. I mean, the Gun Club.
The Ass Boys.
approach and attack Jungle Boy.
Yes, boys.
The Ass Boys.
It's a Billy
all the
Ass
ass boys,
and the
all
Ass
three
Boys.
asses.
That's what Danhausen calls them.
They attack Jungle Boy. They take him outside and they throw him in snow.
That
and
looks
was
hard.
supposed
Oh,
to
no.
really hurt
I was
Jungle
like,
Boy. I mean,
I was watching.
being
I was
tossed
like,
in a-
this segment.
being tossed in a pile of snow.
Yeah.
Then Luchasaurus and Christian run up to help, but the Ass Men are already gone, like a fart in the night, just gone.
But you know what's funny is that they're actually the Ass Boys actually filed
they
a trademark for it.
Dude,
And Danhausen's like, "Oh, good, you're embracing the ass."
yes, you
Yes.
embrace the ass.
Curse. You're cursed. Ass. Your ass is cursed. All right. So we were talking about Adam Page earlier. There's an Adam Page segment that comes up next, and he comes out. He says he's ready to fight Lance Archer. He calls him out. Dan
Two
Lambert
segments.
comes out again. He's with.
Why?
Jay Lethal
He's
was on
with
Dark.
Lance Archer now too, I guess, as well as Men of the Year. Dan Lambert comes out, then Jake Roberts comes out. He tells the AEW champion, "Shut up, little boy." All right. Then Lance runs out. Hangman and Lance start fighting. Hangman gets choke slammed onto steel steps, and then Lance Archer does the blackout to Hangman through the table. He just destroyed the AEW World Champion like it was nothing. After being called a little
is that
boy
because
by
next week
Jake
he's going to
Roberts.
come out and he's going to get redemption?
He's definitely going to win next week.
You know how this goes.
Like,
Yeah, but
Feels like you're belittling.
let's just get through it.
Make it not feel important. That's the thing. That's the whole
Yeah.
whole thing.
This was
that
like the
we were
middle of
getting
the
at
show.
before. He just doesn't feel as important. Yeah, it's the middle.
I just don't know, man. It's just like weird. I think Hangman was better in the chase. It was fun, more fun to root for him when he was going for the title. Now he has it, and it's just like, It was more fun before.
Yeah.
Maybe if there weren't so many people in the company that I want the belt on instead,
That's true.
that I'd be more for it.
Well, also, it was like, when he was fighting for it, we could have had Punk and Danielson for the title. So
Pretty good. So yeah, moving on. After that, we had Chris Jericho backstage. He talks about how he wasn't getting tagged in by Santana and Ortiz, and that was disrespectful. He asked them if Eddie Kingston has a hold on them. He wants to hear from Santana or Ortiz, so he says that Inner Circle team meeting next week, like it's a mandatory.
I was
It
literally
doesn't even
just
feel like
about
Inner
to say
Circle's a
that.
thing anymore. Jake Hager hasn't done anything in forever. Yeah. The last thing they did as a team was that awful street fight with the water skis and shit. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they just don't know what to do with Jericho and this is what's going on, or if it's something leading to Eddie Kingston versus Jericho. But I'm pretty sure Kingston's injured right now.
Yeah. How did Jericho get in such good shape already? It took him like 2 weeks.
Steroids.
Probably.
DDP yoga. I don't know, but okay, guys, let's get to the main event. What we all want to talk about: CM Punk versus MJF. It actually happened. Let's say the first half of the match ended with MJF choked out CM Punk with tape. The ref didn't see it, but then afterwards, the ref sees the tape and the match is restarted. This is about when I texted you guys. I was like, "Wow," and I was like, "Oh wait, there's still 30 minutes left in the show." Eventually, after the restart, Wardlow comes out. He gets eye to eye with CM Punk, and what we didn't know until the very end, when it showed a different angle, was that Wardlow passed MJF the Dynamite ring and walked away. MJF hits Punk with the Dynamite ring. The winner is MJF. CM Punk loses in the main event in his hometown of Chicago. Now, I get it wasn't clean, so it doesn't really take anything away from Punk. It also makes MJF an even massive heel than he already is. Match was really good. It was 35 to 45 minutes, something like that. Like altogether, even with the restart, it was really long. Even though there was a bunch of stuff that was already covered throughout the show beforehand. But it was good. I didn't think MJF would go over in Chicago, but
No.
they did it. And I don't hate the ending. I'm wondering where they go from here. Before you saw that Wardlow passed the ring, I thought that, he wasn't going to do anything. That was kind of going to be like him saying, "Fuck you, MJF." But
Right.
yeah, what'd you guys think of the match? Everything just involved with it all together.
For me, at first, I was kind of like, I when it started, I kind of felt like it lacked the hype all of a sudden. Like there was such a build to it, and then the last few weeks, it didn't seem like it was going to happen until the pay-per-view, and all of a sudden they're doing it now. But I really liked how they did it and how MJF basically cheated the entire way through. There was I think 4 or 5 times when he grabbed the ref and he did a low blow or he did something else just to cheat. And so it was basically just proving that he couldn't just beat Punk straight up, which I know is going to lead to a match at the pay-per-view. But yeah, I really liked the ending of it too, which I didn't even see Wardlow, because how they shot it. You don't see him drop the ring to him, so I thought that was really cool.
Until afterwards, yeah, they show a different angle once the match is already over.
That was really
I
cool.
thought it was great. Excellent match. MJF's heel work was awesome. He got tons of heat the whole time. And I think that's the right way to go about it, too, because if you are going to beat Punk, you need to make sure it's very apparent that it's not like he's beating him on his own. He's beating him because he's cheating the whole time or whatever. So I think, like you're saying, it's going to lead to another match at some point, and then Punk will get his redemption for sure. I think, but it just adds so much. Just people getting even more pissed at the MJF character. He finally gave CM Punk that loss.
Yeah, I can't wait till next week when it comes out and he cuts a promo. Like, imagine what he's going to say now to Punk.
Rumor is he's going to be very nice. So let's see if that. Yeah, apparently he's going to be. He's going to be cool. So let's see if that's actually going to happen. Yeah, I enjoyed the match. I thought it was really good. I don't think the feud's fully over, but we'll just have to wait and see.
I mean, it's been like 3 months, 4 months. So this has been like, and it's still interesting, at least to me, this feud.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they haven't done 5 matches yet, so we'll have to see from there. So that wrapped up Dynamite. Let's get into Smackdown from this week. A couple things wanted to talk about. And this week, this Smackdown got some heat to it. So let's start it off. Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman open the show. Now, how did we not talk about Paul Heyman turning on Reigns during the pay-per-view? I don't know. I know I missed it completely when I was just talking with you guys through this chat and everything while we were watching. Yep. I didn't even notice Heyman was at the top of the ramp with Roman. Like, I had no idea.
Yeah, we definitely fudged that one up a little bit.
So, for anyone listening, if you were listening to the Royal Rumble stuff and be like, they're not even talking about False Night with Brock anymore. Sorry, guys. But it seems like all 3 of us missed it. So yeah, Heyman's in the ring. He talks about turning on Brock. He also says that Brock doesn't get what Brock wants. Brock does what Roman Reigns wants Brock to do. And at Mania, Brock will acknowledge the champion, Roman Reigns. Heyman then acknowledges Roman. And then you hear the music you don't want to hear. And that was Goldberg's.
We don't need this.
Goldberg comes out. Goldberg acknowledges Roman as his next victim. He says, "You, me, Elimination Chamber for the Universal Championship."
Dude, Goldberg's going to win this
match. Now.
Can you imagine if Goldberg wins?
I just have a bad feeling he's going to win.
Oh, God. So this match was supposed to happen at Mania 2 years ago, but didn't. This is when Goldberg faced Braun Strowman instead, because Roman and COVID. And then Roman came back as this tribal chief. Because this is when Goldberg went into Mania as champion after beating Bray Wyatt.
Yeah, that's right.
Fiend for the title, if you remember that disaster. And that was in Saudi Arabia, I believe. So, yeah. I think this is the last match on Goldberg's contract, but I read today he wants to keep wrestling for WWE as long as he can.
I'm sure he does.
Not the last you'll see of him, but I'm sure Prince loves Goldberg. So yeah, we're getting spear versus spear is what I'll call it. It's not going to be long if I'm a betting man.
What do you think? Over under 5 minutes?
Yeah, no more than 10. 10 is stretching.
Goldberg wins.
It's just going to be hard hitting big moves.
Goldberg wins in 3 spears.
Oh my God. Heyman's grabbing his face.
Oh my God.
Oh my God face.
And then it's Goldberg and Brock at WrestleMania.
So after that segment, Goldberg versus Roman is made official for Elimination Chamber. They announce it on the screen. So yeah, so far we have the Elimination Chamber match and this. What is also announced later in the show is Drew McIntyre versus Madcap Moss for
Do
elimination.
you remember who that is, Tim?
This is the guy that was like, who the hell is this during the Rumble? And that eliminated AJ Styles. So yeah, how the mighty have fallen. Drew McIntyre is wrestling Madcap Moss.
This dude beat Brock Lesnar 2 years ago.
Yes, he did. No, he didn't. Shut up.
Drew McIntyre.
Oh, you mean? Oh, sorry, you meant Drew. I thought you meant Madcap. I was like,
No, I'm like, now he's wrestling Madcap Moss.
I know. He beat Brock Lesnar for the championship.
Yeah.
Yeah. So moving on, the main event of the show was Charlotte Flair in ring. Sonya Deville was out there and says that Becky called and Ronda picked her. Well, then Ronda comes out. She says, you're not special. You're just first on her list of people that she wants to get back at. She said, I'll see you at WrestleMania, bitch. Then Charlotte holds up her title and says, this title is my baby, and she's prettier than yours.
That's a pretty good one.
This gets Ronda heated. Ronda goes after Charlotte. But to stop Ronda, Sonya Deville jumps on Ronda's back. And Ronda takes out the general manager, Sonya Deville. Not only slams her to the ground, but then puts her in an armbar. So let's see if Ronda gets, quote-unquote, fined $100 million next week for her actions. But so yeah, it looks like we get Ronda versus Charlotte, which was the rumor before at WrestleMania this year.
Do you guys actually care about Ronda at all?
I mean, I don't, but I get that there's a fan base for it. I try to remember not everybody.
People cheered her when she came out on Friday.
I feel like there's like two types of wrestling fans, right? It's like the active. Yeah, it's like the active watcher and like the passive watcher. If you're actively watching, like we do, we're like looking for shit and like being like, oh, this. Yeah, but
also
then also, you know, when you're a kid, it's all magical. But then also, I think there's adult fans who really don't care. They kind of watch it the same way that they watch a TV show. They're not like taking it as seriously as we do, I guess. So it all depends.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens this coming week with the fallout of that. Ronda attacking Sonya. But yeah, that wrapped up SmackDown. To end the show, let's get into a couple things from Rampage this week. So, opening match, as always, is an Adam Cole match. That's how Rampage likes to open sometimes. And I'm not going to talk about the match itself, but his match was with Evil Uno, and he beat Evil Uno. It's what I want to talk about is what happened afterwards. Adam gets on the mic. He starts naming his opponents that he's beaten in AEW singles matches. He names every single one, I believe. Again, we hear this whole narrative from him, but there's a new Adam Cole coming, a ruthless Adam Cole. He says he wants some respect. A couple quotes that he says, people seem to forget who the hell I am. I'm one of the best wrestlers, not just in AEW, but on the planet. I've won championship after championship. At the end of the day, Adam Cole always ends up becoming the guy, no matter the promotion, no matter the company, no matter the brand. He says, one thing is certain, I will become AEW World Champion. Let's go, baby.
That was a great promo.
That's what I'm talking about.
So Adam Cole's got his sights set.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's a good...
My question is...
No, you go ahead.
What, go on? My question is, when he finally goes for it, does Kenny come back? And then there's a little dispute between...
That'd be awesome.
The two top guys of
That'd be awesome.
I think he wins it, and then that's when Kenny comes back.
Andy Booking.
Oh.
Yeah.
That would work too, though, if he wins and then Kenny comes back and tries to take back what he feels is his.
Or he wins it like at a pay-per-view, and then Kenny comes back like Adam Cole did at that pay-per-view, like debuted, like right after he wins the belt.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's a fun way to go off the air with a little bit of fantasy booking. We appreciate everybody joining us for episode 22, which is crazy. What?
Hey, whoa, we got more. We got more,
What do we got?
bro. We got more
What
to
do we
talk
got?
about.
We got a couple more things.
Tim over here getting ahead of himself, guys. We don't want the show to end just yet.
Okay.
Just 2 more things. It's all good. No worries. So Sammy Guevara had his open challenge with Isaiah Cassidy. I'm not going to talk about the match itself, but afterwards, the AHFO go to attack Sammy. Then Darby Allin comes running out to save Sammy from getting attacked. Sammy, for some reason, is still carrying around 2 titles. Not really sure why. They were unified.
Same title.
Great ladder match. Yeah. But he's still walking around with 2. And after saving him, though, Darby stares at them at both titles and then looks up at Sammy. So I'm wondering, you guys thought Sammy versus Darby in the future? You know, Darby was, what, the 2nd TNT champion, I believe? He beat Cody?
He beat Cody, yeah. Yeah, it'd be a good match. Sammy and Darby. I kind of hope
did
that...
he beat Brody Lee?
No, he beat Cody.
Okay.
Right. Or did he? I
Yeah,
don't know if he
so,
beat
yeah,
someone else.
Sammy versus... Yeah, no, I don't know. So, yeah, Sammy versus Darby, you know, the two of the 4 pillars. Very different than how they were when the company first started. You know, they're in very different positions now. I think it would be a very good match, though, if that's what they're teasing.
It'd be a really good match.
What
I
about you,
think.
Tim?
I'd like
Would
to
you like
see.
to see that
Yeah, I
feud?
think that'd be awesome. Something I think something that they've been holding off on, but I think now's a good time to try it out. It'd be cool.
Yeah, and I feel like if anyone's going to take the belt off of Sammy, I'd rather have Darby do it than
Yeah.
Cody, which, you know, they already did.
Yeah.
Okay, so last thing to talk about tonight with Rampage was the main event, and we were talking about him earlier, but Jay Lethal, finally, not on Dark. Jay Lethal versus Ricky Starks for the FTW Championship. Now, whether you care about this championship or
No
not,
one does.
it's all your opinion. Tony Khan doesn't really even care for it because it's not an official title, clearly. So what I wrote down here, guys, look, I just wrote Jay Lethal is great. He was awesome in this match. And Ricky Starks is very good too. I just think Jay Lethal, you know, hasn't been able to show too much of what he can do for people that don't already know who he is. Hasn't been given that big of an opportunity, but you know, I felt like this was his best outing since his match with Sammy for the TNT title. Did you watch the match, Jeremy, Tim? Or see any clips from it?
Yeah, I watched it. I thought it was really good. And that's again, like, why is like Jay Lethal not, you know, featured more? Which are hopefully, you know,
It's Jay Lethal,
Right.
Like,
yeah.
come on.
Hopefully they get something more for him.
Yeah, I actually didn't get to see this match, so I'm
the
going to
ending
have
of
to go
this
back and
match-
watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the main event of Rampage. If you didn't get a chance to see that or see Adam Cole's promo after the first match, both are very
Yeah, I worked late Friday
worth
night.
the
I didn't-
watch.
Yeah, I'll have to go back and watch it.
So
Or you're not watching wrestling
for
at
this
midnight
match-
on Friday night?
No, I just worked late that night. I just got home and fell asleep.
No, I'm kidding.
So for this match, the ending, Lethal goes for a dive out to Hobbs. Hobbs spikes him. Lethal just drops. Then Dante Martin comes out of nowhere, takes out Hobbs. Jay Lethal goes for the lethal injection, but Starks counters it into the Rochambeau. This was an awesome counter, dude. It just flowed perfectly. But your winner was Ricky Starks. And I just see a future tag match of Dante Martin and Jay Lethal versus Hobbs and Starks in the future after the interference with this match. But yeah, if you haven't seen this match, I thought it was really good, especially, like I said, that counter in the end was beautiful. Jay Lethal is, you know, really great to watch. But yeah, that wrapped up Rampage this week.
Was there anything else that you wanted to go over? Just making sure this time. All right, guys. Well, thank you for joining us for episode 22. We appreciate it. Like always, please follow us on Twitter and Instagram at the PW Fan. Follow Andy's Funko Pop collection on Instagram at the 410 Fan Bros. Thank you guys again for listening, and join us. Yeah, get this
need
man
some
some
likes.
likes. Come on, bros. Come on. Or not even likes, he needs some follows. Just hit him with a follow. You don't even...
Dude,
It's
anything.
just Funko Pops. What the hell? No, I'm just kidding. But
Nudge that follow button, guys.
You
Just
know,
nudge
just hit
it.
that for him. It's not that hard. But all right, we'll be back here next week with episode 23, and take care.